I don't want to talk about Greek too much, but I do want to mention this word technopoiesusen, technopoiesusen, which sounds like to beget, and to beget is apparently to be born, but apparently there are a lot of things that can be begotten, and like clearly like the most famous use of begotten is Jesus's God's only begotten Son, and so but it's techno, like it's technical, like it's like a technical thing. Like I'm surprised by the Greek there. If you go down to 25, you see lumanuntai, but it's got a an upsilon which we were going to change to aleph because of Arabic, because hadar. So it'd be lam anuntai. And you remember what we said lamb was? I think it was to hit, but it might be to destroy, to fight. So I thought it was pretty interesting that lamanontai is what I found if I was using my previous pronunciations in Greek. It's lamb for destroy. So this word for serpent, I think, is office. Office. Like as weird as it sounds. So in English, office is like a room where you work, like sit at a desk. And here, clearly, office is serpent. We've had trouble with serpent, right? Because it's not Python. Serpent is dragon. So office is dragon. But Python is the word for in Greek for snake. All right, so 25 says, then wolves and lambs shall feed together, and the lion shall eat chaff, which is like from wheat, like the ox, and the serpent earth as bread. They shall not injure nor destroy in my holy mountain, saith the Lord. Ope is mountain, I think, because Hagen is agio is what they're saying for holy. Yeah, so ope to hagio. All right, so let's think here. So for some reason I was thinking that sin is the word without, because like without God is sin, but I think that like sin ropa is like without clothes. That's Spanish, not my own language. But that doesn't make sense, because didn't we have two words already? We have with and without, and with is mit, and without is min is without. So I guess they could use sin, and it would be easy for people that didn't. When you're changing languages, you have to have words that are similar. I have no doubt. Like, or you have to combine words to make a word that like everyone can remember. Well, sorry if you couldn't see the bottom, and I was talking about it. Like at the bottom, you can see I was floating the idea of Voss. That's why I had to mention it. I don't know if it's actually Voss, but Ken, doesn't it sound like vain, because Ken and Barbie, Ken on is in vain. Like Ken would be vain. I wonder if being vain is Ken. But I also was thinking that imp is old, and it might be connected to what I was just saying that was wrong. Was I talking about like something that was wrong? I think I was talking about vineyard as plant a vineyard in one word, but it's actually katafatusin ampalomas, which doesn't work. Like it's two words, clearly it's more. All right, so let's move on. Before I move on, pause I think is to rest, but I'm not sure. Like, yeah, it's hard. If you're confused, it's because I'm looking in Greek to find ancient Egyptian words. I'm trying to use the ancient Egyptian language that I developed myself to try to figure out Greek words that have ancient Egyptian in them, and it's not like it's hard. If you have pep, you have energy. I think it's pep. Fahim, think, was it to understand? I think it's fahim. On a fahim, I am understanding, but I fahim, I understand. But it's fahimti. All right, clean, I think might be lawn. Lawn might be clean. Or maybe it was the other way around. I'm still trying to figure this out because malanthes is defiled, and that's how I got to the point, because not malanthes, and then the theta wouldn't be pronounced us. but it's malantas, malanas. When it's a word that's really difficult, like in the English language, like defile, and it's used that much in what I'm reading, I need to figure out malan es. I'm going to move on. So I think Claire is air, like the girl's name Claire. These are just dropping, because Clara Nomia. Oh, I was thinking that, we already said corp is body, so it's not som. It's one of those things where it's very easy to start thinking that like soma is related to body. All right, yeah, we're not going to talk about Greek lips. So I'm starting to wonder if when we're talking about the end, we're talking about the top and like, or the bottom, or what we would say tom. I think we're having trouble with that, and I'm still working on it. I was thinking that tos is life, and if I'm going to spell it, I don't want it to have, I don't want it to be with an E at the end. So, because we want to be able to say tosti, my life. So coal in English is to remove, like to coal the wait staff. Like I'm going to like fire all the waiters. Like we need to coal everyone that works here. Like it's like to remove them. Yeah. Right there I have habna takul, witnesses. That would be to call though, not to cool. Like that's with two L's, because cool is always right. Hamna to call witnesses. Like I need to remove the witnesses or something. I don't know. So eskatos in Greek is farthest, final, end of, lowest, uttermost, metaphor for rank and dignity, finally to the point of death, last day of festival, which eskatos is cat, and we were thinking cat is to turn, but it could be the end, but I think it's to turn, like push, like cat yamin, like turn right. Or it might be cat right. I haven't decided if Yamin and Shamal are staying. So I think being bound is to be tied up, and to loo is to loosen someone's ropes, like, or to like remove them. I don't know. Basin is bowl, maybe, probably not. It's probably bowl, but we'll see. To spring, to jump, to start, and then there's a season. I was just thinking about like what is spring? Like we can't just say it's spring because we're not doing words like that, right? There's like the season, which is spring, which is good weather. And then there's also the spring, to jump up. Like I'm springing up from the couch right now. The English whole word basin is bowl in ho landscape. In English, the word basin is bowl in the land. Oh, I used landscape. Oh, like in the landscape, like in like the mountains. Like from geography, like you'll there's a basin in the mountains, like, yeah. So I think that a stand is a booth, like it's a booth no matter what, like because there's a stand which is a booth in English. I think that to pay is to pog, and that's because epagaio announced a promise. That's not very helpful. It's not very like, oh sure, we're gonna change the language because of that. In English, when I was a little kid, we'd pay each other with pogs and slammers, like which it was a toy. So I got to the point on another page, which I haven't told you probably, more and mo. More was what I decided was smart, and then I started to think that mo was because homologio, which I don't know if it's a good reasoning when you're thinking about homo. But homologio would be like the smart logic. But homologio, like it's actually like talking about smart words if you actually read it. The reason I started thinking that it was because moros in Greek I think is smart, and moros in English is like disgusting, like it's like nasty, like related to the dead. I'm just showing you that I do have a reason for like saying this. It's because the wisdom of Isus, like that's Sophia Sirach. That's the wisdom of Isus text, and that's where like I found like the word moros, and it's difficult to deal with this. So related to things I found in Sirach again, Lith I thought was to throw. To diss is insult, like in English. I'm dissing you. Like, oh, don't diss me. Like, don't insult me.